Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing the first Q&A for this week, leading up to episode 10 for The Walking Dead Season 5, which is called Them. Okay, so we have quite a few questions from this week, obviously. I think episode 9, spoiler warning, by the way, if you guys haven't seen it yet, you're going to want to watch it before watching this. There's just a lot of different weird things that are in the episode. The episode's pretty dense, a lot of short clips, a lot of kind of unknown things. If you guys missed the video yesterday, did the Things You Missed video. Have done the predictions video for episode 10, Things You Missed episode 9, put the link in the description for that. So go ahead and check that out. I touched on a few different things that we won't really touch on in this one, but I'm going to do another Q&A focusing and talking with you guys about specifically the zombies that have been cut to pieces, where you just have their head and their upper torso. And their legs have been chopped off and their arms have been cut off. Really weird outside of Charwell. So we'll focus on that in a Q&A probably tomorrow or the next day. In this one, we're going to talk about the timing of the episode and how we generally feel about the episode, as well as going through a few Q&A questions. So we've had a few days now, to kind of think about the episode, to think about the things that happened with it. We're not seeing our initial type reaction to it. When I do my reviews, I film my reviews like right after I've watched the episode and analyzed it a bit for the purpose of the review. And with this week's review, you guys saw it, episode 9. I'll put it in the description for you as well. You guys know kind of what my thoughts were on it. I felt like it was a really well done episode, but some people were bringing up in the comments, and I had to kind of think about it for a bit because I had such mixed emotions about the episode. In one way, I did like the episode quite a bit because you had things out of chronological order, and it was shot to kind of mislead the viewer to think that they were doing a burial for Beth, in which case it was actually out of chronological scene and was a burial for Tyreese. Also, I really like the fact that they had the hallucinations and all that stuff worked in as well, and that it was unpredictable. That said, I don't think it's really a great premiere. The first question here, this is from Square One, and he says, Tyrese's death was just like Andrea's. They ruined his character so bad and had no idea how to make it better that they killed him. What's wrong with these writers? I wanted to put that in there because that kind of sums up what a lot of people's opinion about the episode was. And I'll just add that I've also seen, quite a bit, and I do agree to a certain extent, that it wasn't as much, it was a pretty slow-paced episode. Some people even found it boring. I didn't find it boring. That's not the case, but I do understand what you mean. I understand where you're coming from. And I think that with premieres, finales are okay to kill off anybody you want. But I do think with premieres, it's probably not a good idea to have like a major character death, character concentration type episode in a premiere. And I think that's just because of kind of the feeling that you get from seeing a character being killed off. So really, with regards to the timing and placement of this one, it does feel a bit like the Andrea one, where I think he's right here, where they kind of didn't really know what to do with him. And the cast is so large, at this point. Like at the beginning of this season, the cast is big. And, you've got Morgan who's coming back. You've got Noah, who was just added, of course. You have, probably a lot of new characters coming in as well, too, with them eventually finding a place to live. They have to. They're not going to survive on the road forever. That they felt like it was a good decision to kill Tyreese off. But it was, and this is another thing people were saying, unnecessary, to kill a character off at that point. And I do agree, it was unnecessary. You killing him off at that time, in the timing of the premiere, we just saw the death of Beth in Coda, right? I'm good with that for a little while. To have another character death right afterwards, I feel like they could have spaced it out a bit, and they could have done a lot of things with Tyreese. He's a character in the comic book series that was around for a really, really long time. He was in the comic book series longer than Shane was. He had more concentration, more time than Shane did. The TV series version, he got enough, but they really could have done a lot more with him, I feel like, over the long run. With regards to this episode, just focusing on that character, kind of, they went micro in this episode, very micro, with having it focus on a small environment that was not very large, right? And having not shown us the 17 days and the 500 miles that they've traveled so much. They didn't really show us almost anything of it. And I thought that's what we were going to see. And I kind of wanted to see that because it's not often that we're used to kind of seeing the prison all the time. We're used to seeing, similar environments. And in this episode, we just basically got to see one small environment for pretty much the whole time. And now we did have episodes like the Daryl Carroll one earlier on where we got to see all of Atlanta again, which was amazing. But I feel like they should kind of mix a little bit more. Have like with the premiere, episode 9, we probably should have seen stuff that felt a little bit more like the season premiere of season 5, where you had some action, some things happening, a lot of zombies, a lot of killing, a lot of things like that. Now, some people they call me an action junkie, and I'm male. I got testosterone. That's something I really like to see. I really like action. It's something I do. And some people say it's not The Walking Dead. Well, it depends which season. You look at season 3, it's an action series. You look at season 4 and now 5, sometimes it feels like action with Too Far Gone in the premiere. But here, I personally think that even though it was cool to see the hallucinations and the choices they made with that, I think it would have made more sense for Tyreese to have been bitten kind of out of nowhere on the road somewhere, randomly as they're going through, as they're traveling, because they would have had to find supplies on the way, 17 days, they would have had to make a lot of stops, they would have had to have done a lot of things. And I feel like they really should have, expanded this episode, shown us a lot of different things. And then had either Tyreese get bitten like right at the end of the episode and leave it as a cliffhanger or something, which would have been really cool. And then have the next episode do what they did in this one and then go from there. I don't feel like you need to have a whole episode where like it's, it was cool the way they kind of did it. But I don't think they have to do a whole episode like that where a character is bitten and then dies in the same time. They could have done something different like what they did with, earlier with Herschel when he was bitten on the leg, ankle type deal. Maybe with Bob, that kind of thing. I really think that really gets it kind of like, oh shit, but then not show us until the next week, make us wait. So I personally think this would have been good for like an episode 2, episode 3 of the second half part. I think as a kickoff point, you want to get us going for the season. You want to have that fun factor in there. And this episode 9, it didn't have any fun factor. It really didn't. It was sad. It was horrifying. It was traumatic, right? Very traumatic. Kind of beautiful at the end too, and complex in the way they did it, which was why I really thought it was a good episode by itself. But I do agree with basically everybody who says that the timing of the episode, because we just got the death of Beth, and the timing didn't make sense to me. So those are kind of my thoughts on that. Now I think I know what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to make us scared of zombies again, and kind of reinforce that it's not lame if a character gets killed by a zombie. It could happen at any point in time. It could be totally random. They could just be standing there and all of a sudden a little teenage twin ninja zombie comes up and just grabs a bite, right? So yeah, and it will work, because I think we are more scared of zombies now than we were prior, thinking, oh, there's no way a character will die like that. And it does add to the unpredictability of the show, makes it less predictable, even though we did, like a lot of us, like I predicted Tyreese would be the next death. Well, I also thought Sasha might be there too, and some of the others as well, maybe Maggie. You guys saw the videos. But yeah, I would have to say that just all around, even though it does those things, even though it's unpredictable, I still think it could have been in episode 2, episode 3, because you want to it's a trade-off. You either get like a nice story, or you can go with something that's totally unpredictable and keeps people on their toes. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the timing of the episode. Is it good to kill a character in a premiere episode, in a kickoff type episode? I don't think so. I don't think it's a good time to kill a character off. Right at the beginning, because we're just kind of getting back into the show again. We're just getting back into the swing of things, and I don't think, I don't think that's a good time, but it does keep us on edge. So those are kind of my thoughts on the timing question. So I wanted to put that in there for you guys and let you guys know, because I know there was a lot of people that were not happy with the premiere, like they really hated it, and I feel you, because it didn't have the fun factor that we're used to. You kind of got kind of a bit of a morbid type episode, would have been better off like where the Grove was placed, at a different time of the season. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about that, right? You can answer this question too in the comments below. So we'll do a few more. Next one's from Lionell Messi, and he says, I say they will be in Alexandria in episode 12. How about you? Well, it depends. It depends. I mean, we skipped all this time now. It depends what they want to focus on. It seems I get the feeling they're trying to keep it kind of, is the word low key, or they're trying to kind of keep it very micro intensive, which is what they've done recently, rather than kind of going big and showing us a lot of big environments and things like that, which is hard to do in a zombie apocalypse. But the whole wandering around in the forest type thing. And this is not going to be a, totally hate The Walking Dead type video. I love The Walking Dead. Don't get me wrong. You guys know. But I'm not ashamed to point out flaws when I see them, or things that I'm not the biggest fan of when I do see them. So episode 12, Alexandria. Well, we just had 9. That would give us 10 and 11 and then 12. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that's about right. Because we didn't get to see them on the road. We didn't see things like that. We're going to see them on the road now, at least a little bit. But it looks like they're going to run out of gas and they're going to be walking from the promo. So again, they could slow it down even further than that. I hope it'll be episode 12. Because I want to see some of that stuff, because that's going to be, really cool for the season. Episode 12, that's a pretty good, we did get the descriptions in that, and I think you're probably right, 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there. It depends on pacing. That's the whole deal. I mean, they could skip all the great stuff and just show them being there, rather than like struggling to get there, which I hope is what we do see. So those are kind of my thoughts on Lionel and your question. Next one is from Luke Pembo, and he says, Trev, do you think Sasha will attempt to commit suicide? Now, this is, of course, because at the beginning of the season, she had, Bob, and she was happy. She had Tyreese, of course. We got the sense that she was in a good state at that time. Now, this season has been horrible for her, man. I mean, geez. You want to talk about a character that has it bad. She has nobody left from her original group. She's the last one from her group that got there at the prison that met the others, and with Woodbury and everything. Now that she's lost Tyreese, she cared about Bob. She's lost him. It's that's a great prediction, man. That's an excellent prediction, I would say. Because also, I always kind of wondered, because there was the character, I think it was Tyrese's, was it his daughter or his sister in the comic book series? It's going way back, I forget now. But I always felt like she was a bit similar to Sasha in a way. Not entirely, but she's with Tyreese. She's related. And, I always kind of thought, because of her fate in the comic books and what happens with that character. But they could go any way with it. They're doing the unpredictable thing, so it's hard to tell. But I would say that's a solid prediction for this half, because what does she have left to live for, right? That's the main question there. So let me know what you guys think about that. Okay, so we'll do one more from ddixon, then I'll do another Q&A probably tomorrow or the next day. And he says, hey Trev, I'm a huge fan. I've been a sub for a couple years. I had a 2-part question. First he says, Negan is coming soon. My questions are, do you think he's going to just show up with no warning, or do you think they'll tie him in somehow? Maybe foreshadowing a little bit, for instance, in the latest episode, towards the end, when they crash and all the torsos fall up, maybe it was Negan and the Saviors who destroyed Noah's home. I think they should go that route. I'm curious to know what you think on this. They have foreshadowed it quite a bit. They've had bats around, and that's his trademark. It's kind of like showing a crossbow when you have Daryl. If you show a bat, you have Negan. It's the same type of thing. Most recently, the Things You Missed video you guys saw, of course, Glenn had the bat that he found. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool that they did that. But I think, as I've said before, I do think we're jumping the gun a bit on the villain, because even though he's a huge villain, there's still another group of villains to come prior to that. There's still, a lot of stuff to happen, in the comic book series that we've seen at Alexandria, and getting used to it, which would at least be a season or two. So we may not even, it depends though, it depends how they want to do it. But the sense that I've been getting in season 5 and season 4 is that they really want to stretch out the comic book storyline. And in doing so, we'll probably see a lot of foreshadowing for him, and we probably won't see him coming. At this pacing, it could be season 9, 8 before Negan even shows up, or have him show up and then go away again in season 6 and then come back or something. Who knows? We'll have to see how it goes. But if they keep kind of adding things in, like they may even be adding a new group in now. We'll have to see how the second half goes. But if they keep adding things in and kind of stretching the storyline and going at a slow pace and having, character centric episodes that focus all on one character, with 16 episodes, they can stretch it out quite a bit. So it could be a few seasons till we see him. I hope not. I hope he'll show up really soon. But with the pacing, it could be a while longer. So I'll call it here for this Q&A. Let me know what you guys think about all these questions. When do you think Negan's going to show up? What do you think is going to happen to Sasha's fate? And how do you feel now after you've had a little bit of time about the premiere episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? You guys have heard my side of things and the way I see it, that I did like the episode by itself, but I definitely think it could have been improved on, and I think the timing and placing of it is a bit off in terms of a good story. Unpredictable, but the good story is not necessarily there. So it depends what you like. Predictability versus with a good story versus unpredictable, sometimes with clunky or not always, feeling like it's at the best time, right, for things to happen. Let me know what you guys think about all of that. And if you like the video, please, do me a solid. Thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share it. Please favorite it. And if you missed the predictions, things you missed for episode 9, if you missed the review, check out the channel. They're all in the channel for you guys for your viewing pleasure. So if you're new, you want to subscribe to the channel, feel free to subscribe. And that's it for today's. See you guys tomorrow. As always, it's Trev saying peace.